And welcome to another edition of the Nerdy Agent Podcast. I will be your host today. This is Josh. Luke is enjoying the sunshine in Florida while the flurries fall outside here in Minnesota. It's a lovely day today. I think it was, -10 and snowing yesterday.
Yeah.
But, we love this state. We have a special guest in Luke's absence today. We have KaLynn from our team joining us. We want to make sure we continue to get different voices on the pod here other than three brothers that all sound the same. So we invited KaLynn today. KaLynn, welcome.
Thank you very much.
We're excited to have her with us. She's been on the team for, has it been 2-3 years?
I just finished my third year.
Third year.
It had to be almost 3. That's what I was going to say.
So tell us a little bit. You've been in real estate for how long? And tell us a little more about your year this year and how it's gone.
3 years in real estate. Very good year. And
Good.
It was a really strong first 6 months. And just going on through the rest of the year. Good. Getting a lot of listings, getting people that are actually doing dual, just doing
Seller and buyer.
Yeah,
you mean?
seller and
Yeah.
buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so move up or even step down. People that are empty nesters and stepping down and trying to move from the suburbs back into the city and have another life. So it's sort of fun to have a different take on everybody.
Yeah. And then tell us,
So-
so how many sides this year? Do you know what your numbers are?
20.
20 sales.
But your volume's up a lot from
My volumes, yes. So, significantly. So volume, just the fact that they're coming from my own personal leads, things like that.
Do you think the volume's gone up naturally, or are you just running into more like you said, move up people where they're selling 400 and buying 700?
Oh, yeah, probably more naturally.
Okay.
Just the fact that just sort of migrating into people that are just looking differently. So investors, people that are moving up, moving down, just relocations. I've gotten a couple relocations, people from out of town. So it's just sort of naturally migrating.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything.
And you talked about this morning, we chatted over coffee about just getting more confident, which I'm sure has been incredibly helpful in that price bracket, right?
So much so, and just the fact part of it that we get the leads on this team. So now I've been able to really transact so many different kinds of transactions.
Yeah.
So being able to help everything from the first time buyer to the move down buyer, everything. The funnest transaction this year, probably of my entire career, was having a young 20-year-old Hispanic guy whose dream was to be the first person in his family to buy a property.
Love that.
That's so fun.
And he bought a duplex,
Amazing.
an investment property, and is already looking for number 2. And he's been saving since he was 17 years old.
So cool.
Tips, lawn mowing, and being able to do stuff like that. So being able to help and see a variety of people that you can sort of nurture and help and hopefully see him again in a year and see what that's going to bring. So
That's really fun. I
good
think,
variety of people.
yeah, and I think you're kind of like a prime example of when this team was envisioned and what it would turn into is okay, you bring someone in new. Their first year, they kind of grind and they build a business. The second year, they kind of start working on building more of their own business. And the third year, it kind of starts taking off. And obviously in year 4, I know your business is going to continue to kind of thrive in that referral space and friends and family, things like that. But it's cool when it comes to fruition that way and it kind of plays out in the way that we kind of envisioned it, where you can start your career new, but really take off in a short number of years. And yeah, you've been just a prime example of that. I think something else that I know I love about you is you come from a background of construction, contracting, that side, which we talk about all the time with the team is how do we be best at helping people understand what the house is like. But if you want to talk a little bit about that, I'd love to hear about, or I'd like people to hear about how you approach that with clients and how you make them understand how much you know about houses.
And I feel like I do it even a little bit differently than you guys do it. Part of it, I come from the interior design part of it, not just the construction. So I worked as a general contractor,
Yep.
but I had an interior design background. So when I go onto things, I do still look for some of the things that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was a kitchen designer and bath designer, so a CKD and a CBD. So if I'm going into some place, and I think it's all price points, but it could be, that first time home buyer that's really trying to make their dreams come true, and how can I do it? The kitchen isn't quite right. I need to have a dishwasher. How can I incorporate a dishwasher in?
Yeah.
pulling out the measuring tape, making sure everything fits there. Or somebody moving and it's like, I don't know how I can rearrange this room or what can I do? Literally, again, pulling out that measuring tape, laying out a floor plan for them. But it's sort of the construction part of things, but the design part of things.
Yeah.
Last night I was walking through a house with somebody, and she's been toying with the idea of having a fixer upper, but everything that we go is too much fixing up.
Sure.
And it had everything, and the one thing that she didn't like was that the second level had only a half bath. Is it feasible to somehow get a shower in here? And so we sort of tracked where the plumbing was coming from, where closets were, how could you possibly expand it? And so we took pictures. I'm talking to somebody that I know in the industry, what the possibilities are, but just having the foresight to can we move a wall?
Yep.
Can we add these finishes? What can we do to make it the property that they want? So sort of incorporating some of that thing and having the vision, and it may not be immediately what that 4-year plan could be, and what they can do to accommodate their lifestyle, because we can't change the perfect property list as far as if it's in the correct area, if it's in the neighborhood that they want to be in, school districts, whatever. I can't change those things, but if I'm looking inside the house and everything fits their criteria except for 2 things, can I make those 2 things work?
Yeah.
How many people in real estate do you think actually have the ability to talk through those things constructively?
Not many.
It's really low, and
Not
that's why
many.
I mean that's why we talk about that so much on the team, because I'm like, gosh, it seems like our industry is just like so unevolved from what it used to be, where before the internet, it was like, you got to come talk to me if you want to see what's available.
They're gatekeepers.
Yeah.
It was the gatekeeper.
Yep.
And then it's like, well, now there's the fence got taken out.
Yep.
And now what are you going to do? Are you just going to be a smiling, friendly face for somebody? 'Cause that's great, and it makes people feel good. Are you going to be an expert negotiator? Are you going to be like this and no, yeah, you can get a dishwasher in. I talked to my guy. It's going to cost this much, because that's something that the consumer cannot do themselves most of the
Yeah.
time, or figure out, or have the right contacts, or and do it quickly, right? Because when the market's moving, it's like, we want to buy this
Yeah.
house and we need to buy it by tomorrow. How do I
Mhm.
know if I can get a shower up here,
Mhm.
right? But you've got people and you go, hey, we can do it. Here's how we're going to do it. Da, 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 da. And that's just so valuable, I think.
We have to find other ways to be important and make
Yes.
that dream come true, not just
Love
find the
that.
house.
Yeah.
Really be there for the long run. And it's, people will, I just had somebody come call me this summer who bought a house from me 2 years ago. They're going to finish a bathroom. How can we do what we talked about? Just sort of like they came back to me because I had resources and I could help them accommodate that vision. Actually, twice this year.
But the more you do
So-
that, and this is what we've talked about with people, is the more you do that, and you're not just, I took a lead, I sold a house, I took a lead, I sold a house. It's I'm your resource now for anything that you
Forever.
need forever. I don't disappear when this transaction's finished. We talked about it at our business planning meeting. Was Luke has a script that he uses at every single closing, right? The different things that he says. But one of them is, if you ever need anything, you call me. Part of that is because we actually care about our clients and want to make sure they get everything they need. But part of that is you become a trusted resource for that person. So if
Yep.
anyone around them ever says, I need someone to help me with real estate, they have your name on the tip of their tongue. Or if they ever change their mind and decide to buy another house, they're going to call you.
Yeah.
And that's how you build a sustainable business into the future versus just a short-term, I sold a bunch of houses this year, but I got to figure out a new way to do it next year.
Yeah.
I love everything you said, but that last part you said was just fantastic. We did want to talk a little bit about, we're in December now. As I mentioned, the snow is flying. There's a little bit less going on in our market, and I think all markets slow a little bit. Minnesota, we get a much bigger decline from now until the end of the year. So what are we doing and how are we thinking about using this time effectively to plan for the upcoming year, whether that's business planning or other things to lead into a successful 2026? So I wanted to leave the floor open. I don't know, AJ, if you want to start, but just what are we really thinking about as we prepare for next year?
We had a guy on our team a while back, and I tell the story about him often because he was slightly more seasoned and wise than a lot of the super, super young people we get in here. And he took the time because he realized that everybody else on our team was just kind of
Coasting.
taking it easy. And he said, I'm not going to take it easy. I'm just going to get after it. And he really got after his reach outs and really got after his claiming of the leads that we had at the time. And he opened up the first quarter and sold like 12 or 13 homes in the first quarter. And I said, well, where do those all come from? You know, and he said, well, it was all right after Thanksgiving. I went to the office and I sat there and I curated the next 3 months rather than just sitting around and going sledding or pouting inside because it's super dark outside. So that's what we try to encourage everybody to do, right? Is like when you know, sure, maybe you do have some business going on right now, but the market is usually about 60% slower than it is in May and June for November and December. And so just getting out there and being prepared. I think too, like the people that you do have, like now is a great time. Like you guys both said, maybe there's a time like you both might be putting somebody under contract this weekend. Like now is
Today,
such a
we're
good
both going
time
on
to
to
do that.
today.
Because it's like, it's just free season and
Yep.
a lot of stuff, you know,
Yep.
it's just so much more open.
Great properties sitting longer than a weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact
I was touring houses that have been on for 60 days yesterday,
crazy.
and they were in pretty good shape.
the one that I did last night, 28 days, it's stunning in Edina.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a good point. I mean, I do also though I caveat AJ's comment with, if you've been working your tail off all year long and you're tired, don't hesitate to take a little bit of time to just relax and enjoy your family, right? I always preface that because as an agent, you're going to have ups and downs timeline wise. And if you burn it too hard, too fast for too long, most people burn out. And so it is important to be thoughtful about that. But I've said this many times. One of my mentors growing up when I was an intern gave me the advice. He said, well, when you see everyone running one direction, turn around and run the other direction as fast as possible, right? Zigging when zagging, et cetera. And, you know, I think this is that perfect time of year where if everyone else is stopping, you have prime opportunities to have some success. If you've got active buyers, if you don't have active buyers, taking more leads that you can turn into quicker sales or just turn into clients for the next year. It's a great way to do it. I don't know what you think, KaLynn.
I always say, whatever you do now, you're going to see in a month or two, or probably even like 3 months.
Yep.
So never like, if you're available to work, if you're not on vacation, I'm like, take the time to be on vacation when there's nothing going on. But if you're working, taking leads, because you're going to see that those results and working it 3 months down the line. So still taking what I can, but making that game plan, because we do have time to sit down, because we're running, especially all summer long. We are just running
Yep.
nonstop. So the game plan gets altered, changed, accommodated to whatever you're doing at the time, but really looking at what that first quarter should be. So making that game plan about what you're going to focus on, you know, whether it be listings or sellings, and how you're going to make that goal, like literally sitting down and writing out the numbers of what you have to do every single day next year, whether it be, you know, refining what you're going to do for your buyers, setting up, setting up your trades, and sort of like looking at all of those tradespeople that you have relationships with and sort of narrowing that in. What is the plan for getting more listings? How can you service more people and more varieties of people? Really seeing what that is. And for me, I've got a focus of looking what I want to do next year. But making that game plan when you're slow. So when you're not doing work, you do have things to do. We're not sitting there doing nothing, because there's always something to learn how to add value. So
Yeah.
just sort of like looking into making game plans and not just sitting there and doing nothing. Educating yourself. It's a great time to be educating yourself and learning.
Love that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, one thing I took from my time in the corporate world is at the end of every year, when it was like the business maybe was a little bit slower, you were always trying to do the next thing. When we were doing planning sessions for the coming year, it was always start with the big goals, right? So like, what do we want to accomplish? What do we want to do? And that can be different ways, right? It can be just the number of sales you want to do, the volume you want to do, et cetera. But start with a big goal, or even like different, I don't know, other things beyond that, what you want for your life more globally. And then build that into like structure and start building tasks around those goals and start creating timeframes for those tasks, because a goal in and of itself is just a thought. But if you build structure around it, you actually can create, like, if I take this many leads, that will convert into this many sales. So therefore, every quarter I should take this many, or every month, or whatever that looks like. If I host this many open houses, I know my conversion rate on open houses is this. So that should lead to this many transactions coming out of open houses. Having the thought, I'm going to sell 25, 30 houses or 10 million or whatever that is great. But take that thought and break it down into actionable steps that can get you there, and then find ways to hold yourselves accountable during the year. So when we did our business planning, that was part of the thought process, was how do we create we built an app that you could submit your business plan, and then we're working on building the coaching behind the scene in order to say, okay, you said you were going to do this. How has that happened in the first quarter? How has that happened in the second quarter? Are we tracking in alignment with that? And if we're not, because the plan that we built in December isn't really what we want to focus on anymore, how do we readjust the plan but still stay true to actually focusing on daily, weekly behaviors that are going to help you accomplish your larger goals? So that's something that I've always tried to be very thoughtful about, because one of my biggest pet peeves is when, we talked about this when you were at a past team age, it's like everyone shows up and says, I'm going to sell 30 houses this year. And then everyone claps and then it's over. It's like, well, that's not going to get you anywhere.
How?
Yeah. But having the actionable steps though, like if you're going through business planning right now, make sure that you are breaking it down to very specific, concrete things that you can do that then you can hold yourselves accountable to whether or not you did them or not.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Exactly.
What else you guys got? Anything?
I don't think so. That was pretty good. KaLynn, you got anything more you're working on?
I think just refining my weekly plan.
Yeah.
I think that at the beginning you're learning so much, so you're sort of taking from everybody. And I think every year it's changed and I'm getting more structured, which I think at the beginning you don't know what you don't know. So
Yep.
you're sort of flying and taking from everybody, and each year changes a little bit. And this next year I feel like it's going to be a more structured lifestyle, everything from personal wellness into the business. So I just really think in order to be a very effective agent and servicer, that's what I've got to do.
Love that.
Fantastic.
And that's all we got for you today on the Nerdy Agent Podcast. Remember, always be better. Bye-bye now.